All right, everybody. Greetings, family. I'm so excited. Wow, it's been a long time since we did season 1, it looks like. But yeah, let me just see who's on. Welcome, family. Rio, Farron, the listener, Lionel, Elo, Kush 9, Rahubat family, Rahubat Moisar. Yes, Philmon, greetings. We don't really say hello because, you know, hell is a low vibration and hell is low, but, you know, we're still happy you're on. We say greetings or Rahubat. All right. Yeah, man, it's so good to be back here. I'm always excited to reach out and be amongst the family. It's such a pleasure to be able to, do live videos about Wu-Sabat. Wu-Sabat is changing the world. And we give thanks to the one and only master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, known to us affectionately as Pa Nabab Yanun. You know, without him, none of this would be possible. He has been relentless in putting out information regardless of, you know what I mean, whatever threats, risks. His whole mission is to tell the truth. And I think a lot of us have got to the point where we want the truth. You know, nobody can really sustain and live on lies. And this is why lies are going to fade away and only the truth will remain standing. You know, so it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be able to, share what he has taught us over the, over 50 years now of constant putting out right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right understanding. Yeah, welcome, Kamsu 9 Ether. Yeah, let everybody know. Share the link. Tell everybody we're on. Yeah, Kamsu 9 Ether, Rahubat Zamal, Q-Ray, Madison. I'm going to come to you. You're the first person with a question, so I'm going to come to that shortly. But yeah, just shouting out everyone online. Jonita, Richard, Flowers, Kid the Messenger, Rahubat. Oh, you want to sign up, Richard Flowers? Yeah, you know, join the family. Like I say, Wu-Sabat is the future. The question is, do you see yourself in it? So yeah, sign up, join, go to the website, go to the links and join. Super Sport, Zaria, Sia, Keon Crazy. You'll have to forgive me if I pronounce your names wrong. The Dark Truth, Savage for Knowledge, Shem Hotep, Rahul Bat. Everyone's joining now. Of course, I'm not going to be able to say everyone's name because I want to make sure that we get the questions live and direct. So let's get started. Someone just mentioned fast track. Let me just touch on that quickly because obviously we had the book, right? We put out the book, and the thing with the book is, you know, some people were complaining when we ran out of stock and we had to wait for the printers and, you know, the posting and the package, and sometimes things get lost. People are not at home to sign for it. So we decided to do the online course, which is instant. So even though we've been away since season 1, we've been working hard. As you see, we're constantly putting out content. And the online course is instant. You can do it at your own pace because we realize that people are at different levels. Not everyone learns at the same pace because some of the questions, some people are like, oh, come on, man, ask a more difficult question. But it's really everybody learns at their own pace. So with the online course, you can interact. There are quizzes. You can ask us questions. You get a certificate. This is the online course just makes things even better. You can still order the book, but just, you know, be prepared to wait for the postage and packaging and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And you get a code, of course, if you subscribe to OSM Vision. So like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that every time content is posted, you're the first to know. All right. So let's get started because I really want to get as many questions in as possible. So Q-Ray, Madison, 95% of the ocean has not been discovered. What really goes on down there that the world doesn't know? I'm Liberian, and as an African growing up, I always heard stories about Mamiwata. Mamiwata, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, are they real? Absolutely. I'm glad we're starting to ask questions away from, you know, the regular religious questions. We will address every question, as we say, ask us anything. But yeah, the reason I made that comment is because people say planet Earth, but the planet is more water than it is Earth, right? So it should really be called the planet water because it's an aquarium. We actually are in water now because the air you breathe is just a less dense version of the water. And the oceans are deep, and so deep that, you know, the military have like submarines that are so deep and they move underwater to the point where they can't even be detected. And there are vast civilizations that have existed for millions and millions of years underwater. We mentioned that, you know, even when you look at the extraterrestrial phenomena, a lot of these caverns, they lead in to, you know, other parts of the water underneath. And even when like you go into the Anunnaki stories, you have like Enki was terraforming the planet and he built a lot of underwater cities. And the whole mermaid, what they call mermaid, which are really sirens, are underwater. I've explained in previous videos that life evolved and started in the waters. And our ancestors were in the waters before they came out onto land. The movie Aquaman goes into, you know, to some of this. So yes, you're right that there are lots of underground or underwater cities, lots of different, you know, aquarian, excuse me, life forms that exist underwater. And if you watch the series Sirens, it was on, I think it was on Netflix. They give you that whole, you know, story. And some of, you know, some fishermen and stuff, they actually do find, you know, come across mermaids and have documented in their videos on YouTube, etc., where some of these mermaids have come onto land and, you know, couldn't get back onto the water. You know, tsunamis, etc., throw people onto the land. So yes, you're right. And in Africa, you're right. A lot of these stories, there are people who are descendants from these beings, these underwater beings, and so those stories that people may refer to as myths or folklores are stories about these real events. Okay, King Zoe Rico, I can't wait for season 2. Yeah, I'm excited too. And if you're all asking, where's my partner in truth? Yeah, we don't do crime, so my partner in truth, Asaru, he will be joining us at some point. Not today though. He likes traveling. He's again out of the country. So yeah, he's still around. We've got other brothers and other family that we may introduce, and they may make a guest appearance at some point. You know, Wu-Sabat is worldwide, and Wu-Sabat, I keep saying, is the future. And anyone that has a culture that is rich, that deals with truth, they're going to make it and survive, you know, the oncoming events, let's put it that way, that are going to take place. So get yourself grounded in Wu-Sabat so that you can raise your vibration, you know. Yeah, so people are saying we're ready. I want to sign up, Rahul Bhat. Okay, let's keep going. Good afternoon from Savannah, Georgia. JA, Georgia in the house, Atlanta, of course, much love. Because, you know, our land, Tamaray, was in Atlanta, Georgia, 404 Shady Dale Road, which was actually, was stolen from us. But, you know, the master teacher said that was just a blueprint, you know. As great as Tamaray, Egypt of the West, was, we're going to rebuild, and much greater. So, but yes, Georgia is one of those places where we get mad love. What is the purpose of the physical world? Okay, this is from Carl Barry. The purpose of the physical world, right, is a training ground, right? Just like when you watch the movie The Matrix, you know, there was a simulation where Neo went into, and he was taught kung fu and downloaded. So the earth, or the physical world, because there are dimensions. And what people tend to forget is, like, you have to think of the physical world as everything vibrates, right? So really, when you break things down, they're atoms held together. And depending on the vibration or the frequency, they will either be more dense, as in hard and thick, than if it was a higher vibration, which is going to be lighter or maybe not visible to the naked eye. So as I've mentioned, that's in all of that is on the course and in our book, where we explain the 9 different realms. And you have people that will say the realms, there are more than 9 realms, of course. But the thing is, as I've explained before, numbers go from 0 to 9, and after that, the rest are literally compound numbers. So yes, there will be a vibration or a realm higher than 9, so 11, 12, 13, etc. But those are just compounds. Now, what I'm basically trying to explain is that the different realms are just different states of vibration. Like if you think about it like colors, right? You might have, let's say, red, yellow, green, the main colors that we're familiar with. And even though you might recognize a red to be a red, there are variations or different millions of variation or different shades of red. So when you're looking at the physical world, right, there are millions of variations. And then on top of that, you have the plane of force. And then you have the spiritual plane. You have the mental plane. And you have the soul plane. Then you have the mental plane. And then you keep going and you have different ethers all the way to 9. So the lowest vibrations, you're here in the physical world to master it, to learn everything you need to learn in the lower dimensions. And once you've mastered them, then you move up to the next level. So let's say, you know, you were on the physical plane. This is where you deal with time, matter, temperature, your skin suit. So, you know, you use your skin suit for locomotion. You know, you have to train. You do everything for the body, but then your spirit body is inside your physical body, as well as the plasmatic you, as well as your etheric being. So yeah, the answer is as simple as you're here to learn, to master the physical plane, and then you move up. So sometimes people try to be so spiritual, but they haven't mastered the basics or the physical plane. So in the physical plane, you need to eat, you need to buy things, you need to do certain things physically. So you can't just sit in your house and just meditate all day, just be spiritual, because you're going to need to eat at some point, because your physical body requires that you give it nutrients. What you eat and what you put into your body is a different story, but yeah, the point is you can't be so spiritual that you neglect the physical. You know, people say, oh, money, I don't need any money because I'm just about being spiritual. However, money is a frequency, it's a currency, and the system, the matrix has set it up in a way that you need money to pay rent, to buy food, to pay mortgages, to do things. So we're not so ignorant, even though economics, you can hear the word con in the middle of economics, like the word contract. You're conned out of your money, but you still have to be able to know how to navigate this world, how to have money. It's not having money that's the problem, it's the love of money. This is where people misquote. They say the love of money, yeah, is the root of evil. And that's the love of it, where you love money so much that you forget about real things, about love, about empathy, about caring, about compassion. You know, that's where it gets twisted. So having money is not, it's not evil. You need money to navigate. So master the physical world, and then you can master the other worlds or the other realms. What's the next question? Let's have a look. Yeah, man, I'm loving the gifts. Thank you. I'm loving the love. So yeah, keep them coming. And remember, any donations, anything you give us just helps us to keep producing content and to help with a lot of the things we're doing in the community. You know, we want to reach out to the entire world, and Wu-Sabat is doing that. So any help you can do by supporting us through the channel, subscribing, that's free. You know, the online course, the books, the donations, anything that your heart, you know, desires to help. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, you can call us as well. I forgot to say that. If you want to ask a question live, you know, use your WhatsApp phone so you don't have to incur any bills. You can call us. The number's there. Obviously, the UK code is +44. The number is 753 996 3882. One more time. +44 from outside the UK. Then 753 996 3882. Call me now if you want to ask a question. Have you heard Alatra? Have you heard Alatra? Not sure what is Alatra. You'll have to give me some information. No, I haven't. If you can let me know what that is referring to, I'll see if my archives have it stored somewhere. Greetings, Ms. V. That was Rasul. Rasul, have you heard Alatra? Ms. V, greetings from Arizona. Greetings, Rahubat. Yes, Biggie Boy 86, greetings, family. Much love. Vet Rahubat. Evening from Zambia. That's Terry Jamal. Vet Rahubat. Rahubat. Greetings, that's what Rahubat means, family. That's our language. We're supposed to all be learning it because of the vibration and the tones help you to resonate, you know, on the right frequency and block out all the distractions. The real DT, peace, hatap or bliss, that's what peace is. Keon Crazy, please everyone, forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong, yeah, but I'm trying my best. Greetings, greetings family. Rahubat and Hotep. Rahubat. I'm not getting much questions yet, but I don't mind because I can just break down stuff and go into things. But, you know, you have the opportunity live to ask questions. Patricia Banks, Rahubat, family, Rahubat. Who else? Savage for Knowledge, Rahubat. Okay, I think here's some questions. What is good food? Okay. What are the best frequencies to meditate with? Okay, so our tones are FAC. However, you can meditate on the Om as well, because that's universal. High, yeah, so our tones are FAC. Those are the tones to utilize, and the Om on the Om tone. What is God's food? Oh, what is God's food? Are fruits and vegetables the right food ones? Okay, on the matter of food, yeah, we know that unless you're living in a place where you've got your own land to grow your own food, and not just the land, but the actual seeds as well that you're going to use to plant, unless they are all authentic and original and they're, you know, you don't have any kind of like artificial things, what we have to do as gods is eat the best of the worst, right? And yes, a vegan diet is the best one to have. The second down to that would be a vegetarian diet. And then, of course, if you want to eat flesh, the next thing is maybe seafood or fish. But really, you should try to eradicate eating flesh. So yes, it will be. The thing is as well, you can still eat most things and you just take out the flesh, the meat, the fish, because we are not really designed to consume flesh or dead, anything that's dead. So vegetation, fruits, pulses, you know, different types of, you know, beans, etc.
We've got our first caller.
Yeah, we've got a caller. Okay, let me interrupt and come back to you. So the caller, let's go ahead. Say your name and where you're calling from, and then ask your question, please.
My name is Joseph Fry, and I'm calling from Detroit, Michigan, in the United States.
Greetings, family.
So, you know what? I kind of grew up very African-centered, and I'm in the midst of opening up a high school in Michigan, and
R-
I want the high school to be African centered as well.
right.
You know, I um, the funny part is I've been following you for a while, and I'm talking to one of my friends, and we don't always talk about religion or faith, but we understand that we both believe in a higher power and ourselves. And I got 2 or 3 friends, and they all say I'm following Wu-Sabat. So
Right.
I'm so glad, and I'm so like time needed you now.
Right.
And it's not. I have a couple questions, but I wanted to give you some praise too for what you're doing, because this is millions of dollars of information that you're giving us for free, and I'm pretty sure people that's watching, they love you for this.
Appreciate
And
you, but I always have to say that the praise goes to the master teacher, Partner Babyanun. Honestly, I'm just a
oh
student like all of us, but I do appreciate the fact, see, the tones. I love the fact that, yeah, we are starting to come together and recognize each other and give, gratitude where gratitude is due. But yes, please go
so
ahead. The phone is going mad. People are
so
ringing all the time as you're
I got
speaking. So go
I got a
ahead.
question.
Yeah.
So one of the things is I love that you talk about the extraterrestrials, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, now that people talk about these things, I had a situation when I was around like 9 years old where
Yeah.
I was abducted by extraterrestrials. And they were like the tall, gray aliens. And no, I didn't go to any class to learn any of this, but because it happened to me, I've always studied it. So I studied under a guy named Dr. Dilbert Blair. And
Yes.
and so I would always look at, like, what's going on or why that happened to me. Like, I didn't get sick for years, my whole life, etc. Do you believe that that is your time over when you die, or is it a thing where, or I always felt like, are they coming back to come and to see us or check on us? I got these questions, but it's so many questions I want to ask you. Because you
Yeah,
definitely one of the people, and
unfortunately,
that's why I'm
because
gonna leave
of,
it at.
yeah, yeah, let me just answer the question. And because there's
Go
a
ahead.
lot of people trying to get through, and we got and we got the live as well. But yeah, I mean, it's
Okay, go ahead.
great because
Thanks, Doc.
extraterrestrials
I'm gonna
have
watch
been
it.
here from the beginning, and it's always been around. It's just that it was suppressed by the powers that be, because they know that the minute they were able to let people know about extraterrestrials, they wouldn't have so much control over the people. So a lot of the times they had, even like the whole the Roswell situation, and every time people were citing aliens, extraterrestrials, or what they call UPAs now, unidentified, UAP, sorry, unidentified aerial phenomenal, instead of what they used to call them UFOs, unidentified flying objects. And the master teacher, Partner Babyanun, put out a series of books when he first started publishing, books like Is God an Extraterrestrial, Extraterrestrials and Creation, Mission Earth and the Extraterrestrial Involvement, The Man from Planet Risk. There are so many books that he published, and I'm talking, this is going back in the 90s, and late 80s, early 90s. And he was putting out so much information in these books, like Project Blue Book. He was talking about the Brain Team. He was talking about so many projects that were classified at the time. And people were like, how does he know all of this? And they used to try and ridicule him for that information, saying like, oh, you're from a planet with 3 suns, etc. So what we're basically saying, fast forward to today,
That were classified.
oh, I'm coming back through. Yeah, if you turn your mic, your speaker down, because I'm echoing back. So what we're saying is, a lot of people growing up had these experiences with various extraterrestrials, but they were made to feel stupid or like they're crazy if they spoke about it. So a lot of people just kept it quiet for many years. But as time went on and it became more and more a worldwide phenomenon, everyone started to talk about it. So now people are happy and openly speaking about it. I meet and speak to people all the time that have had many, many experiences. And Dr. York talked about himself being abducted. There's a scroll called Akasha Records, and I'm gonna, throughout the videos, throughout the lives, we will be giving out scrolls. You can go on our website and you can get hold of these scrolls, and we call them scrolls, not books, but that's what we're referring to, because the way the information used to be written and handed from time in the past was through papyruses and things like that. But anyways, yeah, so you're normal, there's nothing wrong with that. And now with Wu-Sabat, you can meet people of like mind and speak about these things, and we're moving to a time where humanity is evolving, and you have to evolve mentally to be able to deal with things like intergalactical travel, or dealing with the intergalactical community. So extraterrestrials is something that we speak about all the time. But I'm going to have to cut that, and we go into the next call. Is this?
Yeah, he's on.
Oh, somebody else is on. But what about the people on live? All right, let's take this call. Go ahead. Again, if you could just say your name, where you're calling from, and then keep your questions short so we can get as many in as possible. Go ahead.
Okay, hey. Hi, my name is Matias, and I'm from Chile.
Hi, Matthias. Greetings.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Greetings. This is my question. What is the best way to avoid or stay away from negativity? And I ask you that because to me, negativity is one of the hardest things in life that I've been faced with.
Okay, sure.
Negativity is hard to control, I don't know, in a way.
I got you. So the problem is the fact that you're saying to avoid negativity. You can't avoid negativity, because what we teach you is to have a balance, because negative and positive coexist. Like the duality exists in everything. You are that third part in the middle, and that's where you maintain balance, because you can't avoid negativity. It's just like when we teach, in the religious world, they'll tell you like to be good. And we're like, you can't be good all the time, because people use negativity and positivity synonymous with being good and bad, right? You can't be one or the other. You have both sides in you. So what it is maintaining a balance, because if you were just good, then people will take advantage of you all the time. And this is where the turn the other cheek doctrine comes in. And we say, no, there are times where you would need to defend yourself, because there are people who would take advantage of your good nature if you're just good all the time. So there is a time and a place to use your both natures. However, you should lean more or maintain the positivity, because you don't need to use the negativity unless it's really necessary. This is like good and bad, being alive and dying. These are cycles. And so the first thing is to take the mindset of avoiding negativity, because just like in Islam, for example, they will say that for you to be one of peace, you cannot be a person of peace all the time, because you could be peaceful and then walk out into the street, and the noise and the pollution and even the smells can basically take you off your peace. So what I'm saying is, Wu-Sabat teaches you to be balanced and know how to address and deal with negativity, to keep it at bay, and also to know that your nature may call for it, because if you're in a situation that somebody's attacking you or coming at you, if you're not able to meet that negativity where you need to meet it, then you're going to be taken advantage of. So it's about training you and learning how to be in balance all the time. All right. Okay, we got another call. I hope that's answered the question. But this is why we have the online course, so you can continue the conversation and the questions and continue like reaching out to us. Because obviously once the live is over, you have to wait till the next one. So we've put a position in place where, you can continue the conversation. All right, next caller, please say your name, where you're calling from, and ask your question, please. Don't worry, the people online, I'm coming back to you shortly. Go ahead.
My name is Kenyan Mwangi. I'm calling from Africa, Kenya to be specific.
Okay.
It's about 9:30 p.m. right now. So my question is,
yeah.
So there's this big thing happening about circumcision here in Africa. So
Sure.
I just wanted to know since when did circumcision begin and why? Just that. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So again, circumcision, these are things again when you look into the origin, it comes by way of religion, by way of the Abrahamic religion. And it goes into the fact that Abraham, as we've broken down many times, right, was really a representative of the Anunnaki and some of these extraterrestrials. And we've explained that these extraterrestrials, they like to eat food, flesh. And there's a doctrine that the master teacher has given us and taught us called food for the God. The food for the God doctrine, when you start to look back through the religious books, is where you see that these extraterrestrials, they like to eat flesh, human flesh, animal flesh. And so the reason circumcision was introduced was so that they can produce more children or more food, much like how, you know, because why? Because the sensitivity around the phallus of the male is more sensitive in the tip. So by removing the foreskin, it means that one would ejaculate a lot quicker if they don't have any control, and that would then produce more pregnancies, that will produce more food. And so you don't have to follow, if you're not following a religion or the Abrahamic religion specifically, you don't have to circumcise. But the thing is, you need to also know about hygiene, how to clean the foreskin and to maintain, you know, good health when it comes to sexuality and stuff like that. So yeah, the whole being circumcised thing is a religious thing. We are not religious. We basically deal with actual facts and Wu-Sabat. Hope that answered the question. We have another caller. Please go ahead, say your name, where you're calling from, and then your question, and if you could keep it brief so that we can attend to everyone. Greetings.
Hello. My name is Thabo. I'm from South Africa.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Yes. So the question that I have is, we were raised on a Christian religion, so I want to know what's your perspective on that, because I now realize that Christianity is actually a fraud.
Yeah, it's a fraud, and that's why we have exposed religion. And the reason it was actually something that was, you know, given by these same extraterrestrials, because it's a tool that they use to control people. And if you see any of our videos, we were studying and we went through the schools of religion. And this is because we knew that the time will come where we have to help our brothers and sisters and people all over the world that have been, you know, been put on this spell called religion. And, you know, you can break the word down phonetically, relying on the jinn. And so, Christianity is, again, one of those three monotheistic religions referred to as the three frogs. And when you start to do the research and study, you'd realize that, yeah, like you said, it's fraud, because there are different aspects to it. Obviously, discipline can be in anything, in any walk of life, in any form of culture or religion. So any discipline that will help you is obviously a good thing. But what people don't realize is that you had a family, you know, like Flavius Josephus, who, him and his family, they actually were the people that put this Christianity together. And depending on how far back you go and what culture you go to, but ultimately it comes back from the Abrahamic religion. So in this day and time, you have to let go of those religions because they're fading anyway, because they were only given 6,000 years, and that expired in the year 2000 AD. And they all teach that when the truth comes, all false things will perish, and anything that is false is going to perish. And this is the life and times we're living in right now. So yeah, use your mind, use your sense, because you are that God that they're trying to suppress. And once you connect back with your real essence, you know that they can't utilize your energy forces anymore. All right. So yeah, you're doing well to break away from it. And those that are still caught up in it, or those that it's a stepping stone, because you have to start somewhere. And some people may be, you know, undisciplined, and they don't have no way of, you know, being what they consider a good person. So religion can help you as a first step to stop certain things. And it's not about being judgmental or putting other people down, because we were once at that stage. So once we awake and we know that, okay, this is fraud, and we stop smoking, we stop eating bad foods, we stop doing, certain things, we then encourage other people by way of, we're not doing this because we think we're better than you, but for health reasons, for more positive reasons and more positive outcomes in your life, it's a good thing to do. So yeah, we will help others to come out of it. Some people may never want to come out of it, because some people like to be controlled. They like for someone else to guide them. And you have leaders and followers in the world, and you have to decide which one you are, and help those that want to come out of it to come out of the spell. But the future is Wu-Sabat, as I keep saying. So that's what we bring you to, and you make your own choice with Wu-Sabat. And you've heard us speak to Muslims, Christians, Jews, and we will speak to anybody, because we have walked that walk. And the way the master teacher, Parna Babyanun, taught us, he submerged us in these religions. We studied everything, the books, the language, the practices, we celebrated everything. And the funniest thing is, when we were in Islam, the Muslim world, or specifically more like the Sunni Muslims, they didn't accept us, because they were like, you're not true Muslims, even though we followed the Quran and did everything by way of the book that they claimed was from this deity Allah. And they said we weren't Muslims. And the funny thing is, when we came out of that school, they were like, oh, why have they stopped being Muslims now? But they're like, we're like, you said we weren't Muslims in the first place. The same thing happened when we were going through the school of Christianity, and we were known as the Holy Tabernacle Ministries. When we were in Islam, we were known as the Nubian Islamic Hebrews. And the Nubian always tied back to Africa, Islamic because obviously we were going through the school of Islam, and the Hebrew because Islam actually comes from the Old Testament, the Torah, which is Abraham's religion. And when we became the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, the same thing happened. People in Christianity were like, you're not real Christians, because the master teacher was explaining the fraud, the crucifixion or the cross-fixion. He was explaining about the person you're calling Jesus, the character. There are actually 3 characters, called Jesus in the Bible. So you have Yeshua, the first one, the father, who had a son with Mary Magdalene, who is one of his wives, and they produced a son called Bar Jesus, right? The word Bar was left untranslated, and it literally means son of Jesus. And then you had the third one, which was Mark Antony and Cleopatra's son, known as Cleophas. Now, each of them had different timelines and stories. So the one known as Bar Jesus, he traveled and went to like India and Kashmir, and this is who they call Saint Isa. And he had a story, and obviously then he was killed, and then the Vatican had his body, and then they moved it afterwards. So there's that story. You got the real one who had children, and he lived his life till 120 years old and was smuggled through France by, the Knights Templar, and there's a lot of information. I'm just giving you points. This is all in the book and in the course. And then you had the Cleophas, which is the son of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. Now, all of them were the sons of, because Mark Antony was considered a Greek god, and Cleopatra obviously was an Egyptian, she was from Egypt. So they weren't accepted because the Greeks didn't accept him, and the Egyptians didn't accept him. So what I'm basically saying in a nutshell is that when the master was exposing all these facts about Christianity, about how it was put together, about, this character you're calling Jesus that is all holy and down and turn the other cheek, and a lot of information, the 3-parent birth, and people didn't like that. They said we were not Christian. So when we came out of Christianity, we were walking our way backwards to becoming back as our African spirituality, which is wu-nuwapu or Wu-Sabat, which actually predates all the Abrahamic religions anyway, and we go back into our culture. So I gave you a lot, but literally the monotheistic religions have expired, And we need to move on now to the new song, this new Wu-Sabat, which was spoken about to come in this, what people call end times, or the great and dreadful day. The great and dreadful day is great for some people and is dreadful for others. As I explained, it's great for those who are going to survive the dimensional shift and this new change, this new world we're moving into. And it's dreadful for those who are going to fade away because lies. And you can see what's happening in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. Things are being exposed now. It's the time for truth, all right? So that's what we deal with. And if you're for truth, doesn't matter what color, race, background you come from, young, old, it doesn't matter. It's about truth. We're living in a day of truth. All right, let me get back to the questions on YouTube because I know people are being patient. Right, so let's go back to where I stopped. Wow, there's a lot. Let me just catch up.
Can you answer the question about marijuana first?
Okay, where is it?
Someone's posted it loads of times at the bottom.
Okay, let me go to that one then. Marijuana, where is it? Okay, no?
There.
Okay, is smoking marijuana bad for 9-ether-bean?
And then afterwards you've got a call.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Smoking is bad for anyone. It's not just 9-ether-bean, but a 9-ether-bean is a supreme being. And with being a supreme being, you have to use your 9 mind. And you make decisions and things based on facts and things that are good for you. Now, marijuana as a herb, right, as a natural herb can be taken like any other herb to help with many ailments. But smoking and putting smoke into your lungs, whether it's cigarettes or marijuana, is not good for you, right? Your lungs are not designed for that. I know it's a habit. I know many of us came through that. I know it makes you, people say they're holding a meds or holding a meditation when they're smoking because they're high, because what it does, it affects the hippocampus region of your brain in the cerebellum, which is dealing with the area where you have like hallucinations and it makes you feel good. And that's trying to connect you with these higher realms. But you can do that naturally on a natural high. So yes, smoking marijuana is bad for a 9-ether-bean. However, taking it in its natural form as a herb, as in tea and so on, is fine. And when people smoke it, they have to add nicotine or use a Rizzler paper or use some form of, something else is added to it for you to be able to actually smoke it. So yes, short answer, marijuana is bad for you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I know a lot of people are struggling with it, but you can take time and wean yourself off. We do have, you know, things we can suggest. Any cravings, right? You can eat green apples, for example, because of the pectin in the apples. So every time you feel the urge to smoke or to, take marijuana, just get a green apple and eat. That's a healthy replacement, and it actually helps you with the cravings, and then you can wean yourself off gradually. I know many people who have actually succeeded in doing it. You can use your mind. Your mind is the most powerful thing, and your willpower to stop any bad habit that you may have. All right, let me go to the call live. Again, because no names come up, you have to please say your name. And we need to know where you're calling from so we know where we're reaching. And if you can keep your questions short and sweet so we can get through as many as we can. Go ahead.
Of course, evening. So my name's Hakeem, I'm based in London.
Greetings, family.
So my question is, as we've seen in the news, sexual discipline is obviously a key component for men. And I'm somebody that's interested in semen retention. I've been looking into it for around a few years now.
Right.
And naturally, sexual discipline, circulating your sexual energy is very important. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on your experience with it, and have you got any advice in terms of how to utilize that energy?
Absolutely. So again, with Wu-Sabat, we don't lean to one side. It's all about balance. Yes, semen and the retention, because it's energy. Everything is energy at different vibrations or different level. And yes, you can use it and waste your energy frivolously by just constantly, because remember that sperm is life, and a man is supposed to really utilize it for procreation. But you can control, because everything comes down to control. and what you're controlling it for. And if you're not with a mate or with a partner or with somebody that you have a meaningful relationship with, then you should utilize that energy in other ways. So you can, remember, when you're dealing with what people consider the chakras, right? The lowest one is the one in where your sexual organs are, and that's the red, the lust, the desires. And you can actually transform that energy and raise it up, yeah, and use it mentally as opposed to using it lustfully. But however, like with everything else, you know, like you have to have a balance. And if you are with a partner or with a mate, it's still about discipline. So it's like, we're not saying don't have sexual relationships with your partner, but again, it has to be controlled. It's not just like, oh, I just feel like it, and you're just doing things like just, you know, just for the sake of it. So there has to be a balance and a control to everything. But yes, it's a good discipline to have. This is where the religious world, they lean too far to one side, like I was saying about being good all the time and turning the other cheek. So monks, this is why they taught you that Jesus never had a wife and he was celibate, and now you have priests and monks and people trying to imitate that lifestyle, but they can't, because if you go into the monasteries and where, you know, you have nuns and priests, they have found under, like, there was a lot of information about under the Vatican and certain places where a lot of abortions, because the sexual urges will come, and as a man you do need to release at some point at certain intervals. And so it's about balance. And when they were trying to live this Christ-like life, when it wasn't even the truth, because Jesus was married, Jesus did have sex, Jesus did have children. And so yeah, I hope that's answered that question. We've got another one. Okay, this Arnie,
Yes.
your name actually came up, so you must be known to us. But yes, please go ahead. Tell us where you're calling from, what's your name, or we know your name, and what's your question, please.
Good evening. I'm calling from Essex, England.
Great. Good to have you on. Go ahead.
Thank you. My question is having a girlfriend as a 17-year-old good? And if so, is it bad to have sexual relations with this female?
Okay, so again, right, Wu-Sabat is the future. Wu-Sabat is our culture. Wu-Sabat is what governs how we live and how we do things, right? Now, in Wu-Sabat, we don't really condone and have boyfriends and girlfriends, because you have to ask yourself, what's the purpose? Because like you say, it will ultimately lead to sexual relations, right? So the young people in Wu-Sabat are groomed to be supreme beings, to know that if they are going to be with somebody, that they keep themselves as chaste and as clean as possible. And so they can have courting in the sense where the parents of each family would know, you know, what's going on, and they choose wisely. We have to look at genetics, look at, do you know what I mean? Do you have any diseases in your family, etc., 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 so that when you do come together as a union, you meet and have a soulmate, and you produce children that are also supreme beings. The reason we don't promote boyfriends and girlfriends as in the West is because you exchange a lot of bodily fluids, and you take on a lot of personalities and spirits and energies from other people. And now, if you have more than one girlfriend or boyfriend over a period of time, this is where a lot of the issues that people will end up having come in, because there's multiple personalities within your DNA, within your blood. And we have books that go into this, such as The Genetic Kiss. It's an actual fact. We have Soulmates, which is a part Taruk. So for us, I'm saying we're not here to dictate and govern how people should live their lives outside of Wu-Sabat, because you have different cultures and they handle things differently. But if you're serious, people make fun of, you know, young people who remain virgins and things like that for a long time. But it's the best way to be. It's just that you've been given the wrong information in the programming in the West that is just exchange and have multiple partners. So by the time you're ready for a serious relationship or to be married or anything like that, it actually affects you because, like we say, these personalities kind of come through in your being. So I guess you got to take from that. If you were a Sabaean, then I would say read. There's a book called The Sacred Feminine, yeah, The Lotus of Life on the Sacred Feminine by Parnabab Yanun, which goes into detail. And I think the more information you should have, or shall I say, the first thing you should do is stop, get the information, study it, and see if it makes sense for you before you engage in any sexual relationships with, especially at that age, because you can also have offspring or have children and you're not ready financially, economically, you can't look after each other, and then, other problems come in. So yes, that will be the answer in terms of Wu-Sabat. No boyfriends, no girlfriends until you're an adult. And by that time you would have been groomed and have been prepared and ready to be able to bring forth these supreme beings. All right, I have to answer some of these questions online because they're coming in fast. All right, so what was the aim when it was decided for Nekeba to become Cadman's wife? Yeah, exactly. So that whole Cadman, because for those who don't know, Cadman is the name of one of the Adams, because Adam and Eve were not the first people as the biblical stories tell you, but there were different Adam and Eves, and these were experiments, and that's what they did. They took a female from a particular, lineage, and they took a male to basically bring them together at the right time to align up with the energies of the planet to produce offspring. But what they did is they violated, the commands and the fact that they were in this enclosed garden to be groomed. So the aim was, because it was about producing and producing new offspring, because each generation was an experiment to breed out the negativity of the previous ones, because you had the Pataites who were very passive and they were getting abused, and there's a period where they tell you that the dinosaurs were eating humans and things like that, and then you had these beings, these reptilians and the Nephilims that were abusing them. So what they tried to do was not make them so passive so they can be balanced, and took who you're calling Cadman from the Watusi tribe, who were not so passive, to mix with the Pataites, which is where Nekeba came from, to try and produce offspring, to see how that will be received. And then they watched that, and there were different Adam and Eves. All right, I'm going to have to rush through some of these questions because it is live and we want to get as many questions answered as possible. The next one, how do you deal with self-hate and inferiority complex? Yeah, that's one of the tools that was used. This is one of the things that was used to basically make us hate ourselves. And self-hate starts with giving them back everything that they've taught you that makes you feel bad about yourself. And once you start to know who you are, know your identity, know your culture, and put into practice Wu-Sabat, you start to know that you have actual facts, you have knowledge that will help you to utilize that knowledge in a way that gives you self-confidence and pride in yourself. What is a good scroll for a beginner to start with in order to get grounded on Wu-Sabat culture? It can get overwhelming with the amount of information. Yes, that's why I keep explaining. We put the course together. The links are in the chat and in the comments, because with that, it's interactive, it's real time. You can start today. You don't have to wait for us to post a book out to you, and we can update it and keep everything fresh. So the best way, thanks for the donation. As I said, it's always we show gratitude because it helps us to continue doing what we're doing. I'm trying to see because this is moving quickly. Please forgive me if I can't see who that is from. Okay, let me keep going. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 10 being, please don't post your question too many times because it just makes it hard. 10 being most trusting. How trustworthy is the younger elder with his information? You're putting me on the spot. I mean, the young elder loves the master teacher and he promotes the master teacher and he puts out a lot of information from the master teacher. Really, we're not really here. I'm not trying to be, going against each other because we're family at the end of the day. But I would say that go to the source. The source is Pana Babyanun. And what we do, we are obviously, we have all the master's scrolls. Go straight to the source as much as you can. And we help you to get to that source by connecting via way of, what we teach, and the store has all the books, etc. All right, we've got another call on the line. Please state your name, where you're calling from, and ask your question, please. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Nathan from Zimbabwe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I have a quick question. Do you agree with Billy Carson's teachings of human existence?
Okay, again, I have to say this. I'm not here, right, to promote or put down other people's teachings, because I'm here representing and dealing with Wu-Sabat. Bill Carson has good information. It takes you up to a certain point. I personally, just based on my own research, I know he puts out a lot of good information. I've made comments before about him, not putting him down in any way, but just saying like, some things don't add up. I know sometimes we don't give gratitude to where the source of the information is coming from. But yeah, with everyone on the planet, what I would suggest and say to you is check them out for yourself. You're smart enough to discern and know what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. But I've already said it and I will say it again, there's nothing on the planet like Wu-Sabat, and there's nobody that teaches like Panda Babyanun, who is really the source of a lot of the information that people are putting out now and not giving reverence or giving him any gratitude or even a mention. And I'm saying if you do your own research, it will lead you to the truth. We say, this is another thing, because somebody said in the comments that I talk about the Bible, the Quran and these books, and then I talk about our book. And I'm like, they're saying it as if to say, we're saying don't read any books. But one thing we always say is read everything, study everything as much as you can. But it's not about the book, it's what's inside the book and what does it do for you. So when we talk about the Bible and the Quran and these books, which are plagiarized books, and they pass them off as being originals and authentic, and this is the word of God or this is the word of Allah, which doesn't make sense when you break it down, because there are no originals. They don't have any originals. So, it's not that we're saying only read our books. We say read everybody, research everybody, check everybody out, and make your decision for yourself. And there will be a clear winner without a shadow of a doubt. And that's the power of Wu-Sabat. It speaks for itself. Right, greetings. Have two questions. What did Anunnaki use as food before they made humans? And how does Wu-Sabat pray? Again, we've explained this many times, but I realize we have to answer questions over and over again so that it will stick, because like people are saying, it is a lot of information to retain. When you say Anunnaki, Anunnaki is a term that literally explains that Anu sent a group of beings to the planet Ki, or what the earth was called Ki at one point. Na is 50 in groups of 50s. It's not telling you these are specific beings, because there are many species of Anunnaki. There are many species of extraterrestrials, and they all consume what people are calling food differently. Some don't need food. Some just feed off of energy. Some eat flesh, as in animals, humans, and some lay in vats and just absorb energy. So when you say what food do they eat, it all depends on where their origins are from. Are they in the seas, in the skies, from other planets, other galaxies? When you say does Wu-Sabat pray, we have the most of the what you're calling prayer systems come from ancient Egypt or ancient Tamaray, our culture. You can find it on the walls. We give reverence and we give respect to nature. We raise our hands up to nature, to the sun. We respect nature. And so we are the closest thing to what people are calling religion would be animist, meaning that we know we come from nature and we return to nature and we give respect and reverence to nature. But we do have, you know, prayers that we speak to our ancestors or communicate with our ancestors, and we ask them to support and guide us and do certain things. So the simple answer is yes, but not pray in the sense where we're worshiping a god or calling on some entity or some external being that, you know, is pie in the sky. So yes, we recognize that we are connected to our ancestors, and we recognize we are our ancestors manifested. So yes, we have, you know, that in our culture. Do you post questions in here? Send to the phone number. You can post questions in here, call the phone number, or sign up for the course and ask your questions through the Q&A. What's the blue ring on your hand? It's a ring, like adornments. Everyone has jewelry. I've got Ankh, I've got a couple of rings. Yeah, thank you. As in what stone it is, or I don't know, it's jewelry. Let me just take another call. Yes, brother or sister on the line, I don't see your name. If you could just say who you are, where you're calling from, and then ask your question.
Rahubat, my name is Terry Brooks. I'm calling from the United States in Florida.
Rahubat.
And my question was, is music considered a language, and how does the master teacher have any scrolls on music and tones?
Torah.
And how, you know, look more to that?
Sure. Yes, everything is music. Your tones, your vibration is music. The sound of the birds is music. The ocean is music. The air is music. You know, there's natural nature music and there's artificial music. People tend to think of music as just what is, you know, recorded or produced. But everything is actually music. Language is music. But I know where you're going. And the tones that we resonate with are FAC. The reason they're FAC is because A is the natural tone of the human body, and F is nature or the planet, and C is the cosmos. Now, you as a being on the planet, you have a body that's connected to other bodies, because things are just different modes or different moods of vibration at different density levels, right? And what is good for you to recognize, and I started saying this at the beginning, is that think of everything like density, and then there's a level of density that we call matter, right? And then from that matter, you get atoms, right? Atoms are like the minute things that hold things together. And when you study atoms, you start to see that the electron and protons, the electrons being the electrical, the protons, and then in the center of them, you have what we call nutation or nutational rate, right? So the atoms then form what we will call organisms, because you put atoms together to form an organ. Your organisms then, you know, your lungs, your liver, etc., then form a complete body. So everything is just a level of vibration, and the lower you get, the more solid and more dense things become. So the reason we use FAC is because you're vibrating as a body on A, and you're connected to nature, which you're vibrating on the F, and then you're connected to the cosmos, meaning other planet, other solar system, other galaxies, other universes, to the multiverses, to the omniverses. So it's all music. Every sound you make never stops. It just decays in terms of the frequency or the vibration. So yes, the music, there's a actual fact called, what is it called? Actual fact number 16 is vibrational frequencies. I don't have the exact title right now in my head, but we cover it. It's in the scrolls. It's in the course, and we have one called wavelength A, which also goes into that. Dr. York was a music producer himself for many years. He wrote many songs. He ghost wrote on many songs, and a lot of his songs have been reused and remixed, and people don't even know. So yes, music is very important. The issue is, again, the balance. The natural instrument and the natural music, as opposed to the synthetic and, you know, the 808 and certain vibrations that are used that affect certain chakras, or what you would call glands in your body. And some of them are damaging, and they will affect your, what we call, you have 9 magnetic particles in the cranium of your brain. And, you know, certain music is designed to destroy you, or agitate you, and have you vibrating on the wrong frequencies, because these extraterrestrials, the disagreeable ones, they feed off of that energy and they ride those waves, you know. So you have the music industry and a lot of people putting out negative music because it makes you vibrate, operate, and think in a certain way. Okay, Mace, for now, we have another caller. Please state where you're calling from and your question, please.
Yes, I'm Mason from Hackney, innit?
Hey, how you doing? Greetings.
I'm good, thanks. I was gonna say, do you know anything about the second moon? And is that a spaceship or something?
Yeah, the moon is synthetic. It was actually put in place, and if you do a lot of study into this, you will find out that we've broken down before that it's a satellite. It was synthetically created, and you have greys that are inhabiting it at the moment. And there are many different parallel, what people call existences. So like, again, what I'm saying is vibrations, right? So you can have something that's solid, that is in this space, but within that same space, you have something in the same space, because people say two things can't occupy the same space. That's not actually true. They can, it's just that they have to be at different density or different vibrations. And this is what's happening. So you can have something and something else superimposing it. There's a movie called Midnight Special that I would recommend for you to watch that gives visually what I'm talking about. But yes, the moon, there's several moons, they're just satellites, and they're not always authentic. You got another call? Yeah. Wow. I think this is the first, doing a YouTube live and taking calls at the same time. But I kind of think it's not fair for the people online though. So I'm going to take this one, and then we're going to have to pause for a bit and address a lot of the questions in the chat, and then come back to the phone. Right, Jazz, I think, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. If you just...
Yes, you are.
Yes, tell us where you're calling from, and yeah, ask a question.
Okay, I'm calling from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, okay, so in the Christian world, we were taught to say bless you or giving blessings or bless. I wanted to know what was the proper word to say.
Oh, you can just replace the E with an I and say bliss. Bliss, because bliss is a state. And yeah, so you can, in our language, we would say hatap, which people have used to say hotep. And they say they think that means peace, but it's really hatap, and hatap means bliss. And yeah, just replace it with bliss. And you can use any other word that is more of a higher vibration. But yeah, I hope that answered the question. Let me answer some of these questions. All right, I'm gonna go from the top. Greetings, cover that one. Okay, cover that one. Send love and light from Chicago. I am Christina. Yes, thank you. Much love to you. I'm sick right now from eating meat. Took a relapse and paying the price. Yeah, that's, I mean, you have to get rid of it. And there's so many benefits. Meat takes a long time to digest through your body. They add a lot of, you know, pesticides and all kinds of things to the animals when they're growing, you know, growing them, fattening them up. And, you know, it builds a lot of uric acid in your body. It's very acidic. As you know, Dr. Sebi talked about alkaline versus an acidic diet. So, yeah, meats and dead flesh is not really good for you. It's like when a person dies, they put them in a morgue, right? And then it's like a freezer, and then they take them out and then, you know, bury them or cremate them. And we do the same, where you go and buy dead flesh that has been, you know, dead for a long time. And sometimes they actually make them look fresher than they really are. And they inject blood and all kinds of things to keep it looking like it's fresh. Put it in the fridge, you freeze it, and then you take it out. And, you know, it's not really good for us to consume meat. I heard eating livestock that is killed with stress and anxiety can manage. Exactly, we're partaking of that meat. Yes, because the energy and that essence is trapped when they are murdered, and their memories as well are within the cells, because your cells retain memory. So sometimes you will eat something and have a nightmare and not realize that it's the animal that had that trauma that you've now put into your body, because everything is energy. So, and again, we're not trying to beat down people that are still eating meat. Everything is a work in progress. You can wean off. A lot of people have stopped eating red meat, for example, then they move on to white meat, then they eat just fish, and then they stop eating it altogether. Don't beat yourself up, you know, realize it's for your own benefit, and take time and get, you know, through it. Obviously, the quickest way to something is to just do it. It's just straight stop. But I know for some people that's challenging, and this is why you need to speak to those who have already walked the walk you're walking, and they can give you advice to help you along the way. What is the etymology of amen? The etymology is simple when you learn about languages, right? This is Kunda's question. Like I keep saying, the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, you can replace and interchange them, and you will see that amen actually comes from Amun, which is a deity in ancient Egypt, one of a triad of deities, right? So we talk about Atum, Atun, and Amun. And then there's another one who's known as Anun, which deals with coming out of the waters before you come onto land. But Amen is what people say at the end of prayers in Christianity, and Ameen is what they say in Islam, and Umain they say in Judaic or in Judaism. So the etymology really comes from Amun, all right? Who is, you can find this in the books of Revelation 3:14, and most monotheistic religions actually come out of ancient Egypt, and so everything ties back to Egypt. I'll give you a quick summary on that. So you have the story of Asaru, or they say Osiris, with his wife Ashtat, or what they say Isis, and Ha or Hara or Hiru, which was the sun. That became the father in terms of Christianity, God, Mary, and Jesus. So you can line everything you find in religion backwards. So there's nothing in Islam that you can't find in the Old Testament and the New Testament. And there's nothing in the New Testament that you can't find in the Old Testament. And there's nothing in the Old Testament, or what people call the Torah, that you can't find in the previous tablets, like the Anunnaki tablets, the Akkadian tablets, the Enuma Elish, the Gilgamesh epics, many tablets that were left out. And all of that you can find from Egypt, on the walls of Egypt, or the stories in Egypt. So the Noah stories, like the Seneferu story, there's so many, we got that in our books. There's so much information. Sometimes we just give you bits and pieces. Okay, let's keep going. What's your take on the ongoing UFO issues? Last year at a congregational hearing, a former US lieutenant testified about a UFO recovery and reverse engineering program. Yeah, this has been going on with Bob Lazar and Area 51 and the whole Roswell crash. Many extraterrestrials have crashed here, or, you know, they've got many recovery from like crash landings, and they've been hiding it from people. And it's getting so popular, and people just exposing things, whistleblowing, people that used to work on some of these projects for the government, and they're just speaking. Some of them are so old that they don't care anymore. They're about to leave, and they just spill the beans. So they had to do disclosure to let people know that, you know, these things do exist, but they do it in a way that if you're not paying attention, they might put the program on really late at night. And as long as they say, we've told you, and you can't say they didn't tell you, that's what the devil's good at doing. Making evil fair seeming, or having it in front of your face, but relying on your ignorance and the programming so that you don't take it seriously. And he can just say on Judgment Day, but I told them, they knew. I actually said on the packet of the cigarette that smoking kills, and he still or she still smoked it. So it's not my fault. I did tell her, I warned her or him. So, you know, that's what the devil does. Don't make the school African-centered, make it unity-centered. It's funny people will say that, but there are Islamic schools, there are Christian schools, and now if someone says they're going to have an African school, it's like, don't make it that. But I do get the point. It is about unity, but also this is what our brother Umar Johnson's doing. He's teaching, you know, because there's nothing wrong with you being taught who you are as an African, and if you want to join in, please join in, but don't tell someone not to do that, because, you know, what's wrong with that? But I do get the point. We are about unification and about love and unity, but I also feel like we can, like every other race, be unapologetically African, or afafreye ka'a in the proper tones. Yeah. This person says, C4 IMB for you. The praise goes to God, not Dr. Malachi York. These type of sentence for us in Wu-Sabat are funny, because when we start asking you question on what God you're talking about, when you say the praise goes to God, Dr. Malachi Z. York is a God. I'm a God. You're a God. It tells you that. Go to your Bible and look at Psalms 82:6. Go to Exodus 7:1. Go to Matthew 10:34. It tells you you're God. It depends on the type of God. The word God is just a title. Elohim, Adonai, Yahweh, you know. So when people say the praise goes to God, it's like you have your concept of what you're calling God and what that is. And when we start probing and asking questions, who is he? Where is he? Where are they? What form do they take? Are they seen? Are they unseen? Are they hidden? Are they not hidden? Are they male? Are they female? Are they in a form of elements? Where are they? Then, you know, we will get to the bottom line. Don't play with Wu-Sabat. Wu-Sabat will dissect it and pull it apart. So Dr. Malachi Z. York is God, and we are allowed to have God just like any other person. You know, the Hindus have gods. The Chinese have gods, the Native Americans have gods. Many races have gods in their image and in their likeness. So, you know, we're in a different day and time, you know. We recognize him as God, not just because of the title, is what does God do? God does things and teaches you and raises you up and gives you, you know, certain power. And everyone is God, male and female. So don't say the praise goes to God. Which word? Let me keep going. The young elder is striving to get the master teacher out of jail. What do you think about that? This is a very important point. The master teacher has a legal team, right? People that he has assigned and given permission to work on his case. And anytime anybody has an initiative or that they're working on something, they're advised to go and work with the team that's already in place. Because you don't want to be tripping over each other and doing things that go against each other. So you have to work together. So yes, anybody that has a great idea, work with the legal team. And if you don't know who the legal team are, you know, get in touch. We will put you in touch with the legal team. There is a legal team because there are many cases and many things being worked on at the same time with different teams. So no one, these are words from the master teacher himself. No one person is going to be, I'm the one that freed him, because it's about love and unity and working together to free him. So what I think, the young elder is striving to get the master teacher out of jail. That's a fantastic thing. What I think is he should contact the legal team and work with the legal team. Work from the inside out. Don't try and work from the outside in, because things are already in place, okay? George Townsend, what is the Wu-Sabat philosophy on money? How do you all regard it? Should we work for other people? Is the investment advice the same your typical financial advisor would give? No, we don't have a philosophy, because philosophy, again, is one of those Greek words that means people will sit around and say, I think this, and somebody else says, no, I think this. So we like to deal with facts and deal with things that make sense. We know, I explained earlier on, money is necessary in the society. We don't worship money, and we don't put money over things that are more tangible, like care, like love, you know, like empathy. But we recognize that you need finances because we produce, and we need to build and grow and have more, you know, outlets, more stores, more books, more things for our culture. We're building a lot. So yeah, our philosophy on money is to work together, work for self and kind, do for self, buy from each other and sell to everybody else. Not everyone is business minded, and so not everybody even wants to, you know, set up their own business, but you can help build a business from other family. And we do know, and you know, Dr. York has always taught us about working for self and kind. And so, yeah, we are taught about business, about things differently. And some conversations are only had in private and when you're in the fold, you know, because you don't want to give away all your strategies and things, right? But yeah, we are very entrepreneurial, and we're working to build. Right, we have Isolam Daka, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, on the call. Yes, please state where you're calling from, and let's take your question.
All right, sir.
Rise up, greetings. Rahul Bat.
Or should I text, or should I like?
No, you can talk, you can speak. Where are you calling from?
South Africa, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, like Dr. York said, he's Mikael, right?
Yeah, just ask the question and I'll answer it.
Yeah, he said he's Mikael, but at the same time, also Jehudi. So are those the same entity, or? Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, so yeah, he's known by many titles, names of titles, as we've explained many times. And Mikael in the Arabic is who dares to be like El, or the angel Michael, the archangel Michael. He's known by different titles, Murdoch or Marduk in the Sumerian doctrine. He's known as Tahuti because it's the same being which is the most knowledgeable being throughout different times, and it holds a very high title. And so depending on which angle you're coming from, what perspective, what religion, what culture, you would have encountered him with different titles. So yes, he is those titles. And again, a title can apply to different people, you know. So Mikael, like I said, he's a defender, or the archangel, the warring angel, that he's here to basically bring about the new change, and as we know as Wu-Sabat.
I say do that one first.
Okay. Third eye is your first eye. Thank you so much for your donation. How can I become a part of the culture and community? Go to our website, neshat.co.uk, click on the join us, and complete the form, and we will be, got another call coming through, and we'll connect with you and take it from there. Let me address this El Buddha, hang up on this crazy man. Listen, it doesn't matter what you think. People have their own mind. Like, you're calling me crazy. You don't even know me. You've never had a conversation with me. And I guess if that's all you've got to contribute, we ain't really interested in that. But people are big adults and they can make up their own mind for themselves. And this is the type of influence and bullying that people try to exert on other people, telling other people what to do. If you want to hang up, you hang up. You know, you don't have to be here. We ain't got time for this. We're dealing with right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, right vibrations, you know. So we ain't got time for that. Next person on the call, please just say your name, where you're calling from, and if you could ask your question. Can you hear us? Oh,
Hello.
okay. Go ahead, Zama.
Yes, my name is Indy. I'm currently in Haiti right now. And the question that I wanted to ask is, I've heard many people, especially living in Haiti, they say voodoo is African spiritual science and animism as well. And I also heard that wu-nuwapu or wu-Sabat say basically they say the same thing. It's animism and it's African spiritual science. I just wanted to can you briefly explain? Is it the same? Is it different? Are they the same thing?
Okay. Yeah, so again, the problem is that, yes, it is African spirituality, just like Yoruba, Santeria, and certain things that we practice naturally. Some of them have been influenced by other people who incorporate or add other things into it and turn it from what it's supposed to be into being disagreeable. Meaning that, yes, we contact and speak with our ancestors, and we do certain rituals, but we don't deal with anything satanic, anything to do with sacrificing, anything to do with blood sacrifices or animal sacrifices, or putting people's like hair and like doing all of these things. That a lot of that has come in by way of influences from others, from Wicca, and Wicca is really Christianity today and the monotheistic religions. So it's not that it's animism is about, like I said, dealing with nature, natural nature, contacting your ancestors, dealing with things on that level, but we don't do anything to do with sacrifices, blood sacrifices, and asking for people to do all the stuff that got mixed in. And then in Haiti, for example, or in like the Yoruba, where the Muslims and Arabs influenced it, and then that influence a lot of the times come by way of religions and by way of these extraterrestrials that desecrate the natural practices that we have as a culture, as a people. All right. Okay, we've got somebody else on the line. Go ahead, sis. If you could just say your name, where you're calling from, and then ask your question.
Thank you so much, brother. My name is Oracle Eyes. I'm calling from Toronto, Canada. My question to you is, for 30 plus years of my life, the first 30, because I'm 51, I studied, and I studied so much information about the Moors. And even back in the 90s, when I was in the Nation of Islam, we studied so much about the Moors. Now, my question is, because of late, I've listened to a few of our brothers and sisters who are seemingly conscious and educated, and a lot of the information I'm getting from these people, they're calling the Moors the dirty Moors, and they're referencing them as not our people, that they're a separate subgroup of Black people that are not, that they don't even like us as the Black men and women here, or the melanated peoples here on this earth. And I just found it shocking, because I've heard it from 3 separate people who have, very high demand podcasts on YouTube. And I'm just like, where is this concept of the dirty Moors, and that they're not our people, or they're not for us? Where's that coming from? And do you have any information?
Sure, sister. So again, when people talk about the Moors, there's a time when we went through that whole school. In fact, Dr. York was very instrumental in putting out the information, because we were known at one stage as the United Nuwapian Nation of Moors. And what he was doing, like he did with all the other schools, is teach us this information. And one of the things where this is coming from, in relating to your question, is that when people say Moors, they don't realize there are different types of Moors. So you had Moors who were known as the Morenos. Well, the word Moor comes from different origins, Morenos being one of them. And melanin or Milan, that's another one. And then you have Negra, where you get Negra, or where they say Negro. So it's the situation is like you had those Moors, the Morenos, who actually who sold out. much like this, when you talk about slavery, they talk about you had the house Negroes and you had the field Negroes. And the house Negroes were considered the ones that sold out or were easily influenced by the slave master. It's the same thing when you're talking about Moors. So you have those Moors that sold out, and this is where they ended up in what people call, like in Morocco, and they wear they wear a fez. Like what I'm wearing is called a tarbush, and there's a lot of information and science to go into that. But the reason they wear the fez is because the capital of Morocco was that the city was called Fez, and these are the ones that sold out. So you have a situation where the real Moors, and it's the same with Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and all because the wars go on when you have two sides against each other. And what the devil normally does is he favors one side, and then they think they're favored, and then he goes behind those people, goes behind their back and favors the other side. Like, sell weapons to these people, sell weapons to these people, they fight and kill each other, he benefits, he rebuilds everything, and he makes money from it. That's an analogy and an example. So yes, you do have fake Moors that sold out, that were basically, those are the ones that the real Moors, they basically, they're now exposing and saying that those are the fake Moors. But a lot of people don't know that they're different factions or Moors. But the reality though is, when we went through that school of the United Nuwapians of Moors, we came out of that, because most of what the Moors are after is this, the acres and the mule, and not wanting to receive reparations and get given stuff because of what they went through. But the reality is, we got to a point where we came out of that, and the master showed us that nobody comes to your rescue, and you are African first, regardless of where you are or what title you choose to pick up, because it's about your DNA. And so we had to drop all that stuff, and some people unfortunately are still trying to go down that route, because they feel that because the Moors had treaties and there were records to show that you're a free man and you're not a slave. But in today's climate, they don't recognize that. Some people might go to court and try and use that whole system of proving that they're free, but there's so few that are successful with it, because the devil don't care whether or not you present facts. If they want to do you bad or injustices, they're going to do it. Case in point, the master teacher Partner Babyanun, who is innocent, even with all the evidence and all the facts, we're still having to fight and go through this thing. So I hope that's helped you. Oh, I'm going to take this one, and then I'm going to go back to the chat. Go ahead, brother. There's a brother online. I don't see your name. So if you could say your name and where you're calling from and ask your question.
I don't know if that's me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's you. I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay, great. How you doing, brother?
Doing my best. How are you?
So I actually have two questions I'd like to squeeze in.
Go ahead.
They're kind of related. So recently, my mother passed away, in January. And, I'm an ex-member of the Nation of Islam, still love them. They really changed my life and opened me up to realize that knowledge is my birthright, and wherever I wind up is the right place, because I'm following right knowledge and looking for right knowledge. I'm a seeker of knowledge. So, and they did that to me, so I'm forever grateful. Although, so part of my question, but in the Nation of Islam, there isn't a lot of spirituality. It's a very logical system. And my mother's recently passed, and since she's passed, I'm just more open to the idea that this realm is not just the end of it, right?
Yeah.
So since there was a lot of weird things that happened. The night she passed away, as I was getting a call from the hospital, I had a dream that I was talking to her on the side of her bed, and I was crying, and she was asking me, what am I crying for? Everything's all right. Next thing you know, the phone rings at the hospital saying she passed.
Right.
That was really weird. And then now I'm seeing 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. And as I Googled that, I'm finding that those numbers represent, a whole bunch of things change. Angel numbers. Everything that I'm going through in my life right now, when I Googled that, it outlined specifically, dot for dot, the time for change, to look for spiritual things, and to, just so many of those things. So
Yes, brother. Let me address. Yeah, I feel you. I hear you. The first point is about the nation. We are family first and foremost, right?
Yes.
And if you do study the history and what the nation stood for with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he pretty much told everyone who was going to come and for the real people to move over and follow this person. He talks about the Book of the Lamb and so forth. And the person that came along is Dr. Malachi Z. York. He actually explained all the lessons more than anybody has done in the past, broke them down, and there are videos on YouTube. So the real followers of any walk of life, whether it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Nation of Islam, have to come over and move over to Wu-Sabat and us to become a family. So yes, he always gave reverence and praises to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for what he built. And his message, he said, was right and exact. And that message was to do for self and to come together and work for each and, basically for ourselves. So that message is what he's saying is right and exact. Now, ancestry, as you said, your mother was able to visit you and you can still communicate with her. And we have rituals and things that, we teach that teach people how to do this, because they're just, as I've explained, she's just crossed over. We don't die because energy cannot be destroyed. We just translate, transmutate, move on to a different realm and continue to have a new form of existence. And we master that realm and then we continue to move on. So she's mastered the physical, she's moved on to the next one. She's there, she can communicate with you, she can walk with you. You have to learn how to be in tune with her and for you to be able to manifest her and communicate with her as you need, just as if she was here. And that could be through what people call dreams, but your dreams are really you traveling and going to those realms and coming back because you are not ready to cross over or pass over. So I know that you have a lot you want to unpack. The angel numbers, again, that's what people call angel numbers, but it's really dealing with messages and synchronicity from different frequencies, so yes, I'm one of those people. I get those all the time, to a point where I know what you're saying, and what you have to
it's happening so much that it stopped me and made me Google it. I just, why is this constant? Because I never thought to do that before, but for some reason it was happening so often, and like I said, I'm in a situation now where so many things in my life are changing, and it almost
listen, brother. Again, because of time constraints, contact us, link up with us. All our contacts in it, so we can carry on with the conversation. Yeah.
One last question. I'll release the line. If you could you just talk on Master Fard Muhammad, who he is, what he represents, what position he holds in the eyesight of Wu-Sabat, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Okay. Again, the master teacher has published many books addressing that whole situation, because the point of the Nation of Islam they didn't actually realize that there was a conspiracy, right? So when you start to go back to the origins, these people, as Master Farad Muhammad you're mentioning, were Arabs that came in and they were trying to teach a form of Islam, and then they basically supplanted themselves and to be worshipped. This is why when the master teacher was addressing, the nation and saying that there were certain imposters that were placed, and it's quite deep because it involves FBI, CIA, and all these type of things. But ultimately, it was like they were like till this day. When you look at the picture that they have of him, he looks like, well, it is half Caucasian, and it didn't actually add up when we're saying that you're the original black man. And when you start to look at the lessons and tying it into what they call the Asiatic black man, we know that we're not Asians. We're not from Asia. That's dealing with the East Indian. So really, we're the original black man not black in the state of color. But we have so much information on this that we can address this and go into more details. But we have a book called Zig Zag Zig, there's so many books that address this whole thing. But at the end of the day, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is honorable because he cleaned up, the black men and took them away from, the white Christianity, and, discipline was implemented. There were thriving community, and the minute he left, the Arabs stepped in and, took it to a different direction. And now we have to come back together as one, because they were actually Minister Louis Farrakhan and the master teacher were starting to work together. And again, the powers that be tried to sever that connection. But a lot of the elders and many people that were following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad are in our culture now, and a lot of them have come over, and many more will. And like we say, religion is going to fade, and if they don't move away from that, they're going to fade along with it. So the real people are going to gather together in one place, which is Wu-Sabat, whether people like it or not. Do you want me to take this as well? Gosh, I've got to get back. So I hope that helps you, brother. We have free classes every Saturday live, where you can join in on Zoom or Clubhouse, and you can ask more questions and we can go into more detail. Of course, this is the first live we've done in a long time, the return of Ask Us Anything on OSM Vision Wu-Sabat. Subscribe so that you can get the notifications. We do free classes every week where you can call in and ask any question. Right, the next person on the call, if you could just say your name and your question, please. Please try and keep the questions as succinct and short as you can so we can get through many questions. Go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Selena. I'm an Igbo lady in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, my mom was able to leave her body at will as a child.
Yeah.
Without anything. I'm born, raised Christian Pentecostal. And I also lived to, places I don't know. I see my late siblings and my late mom. They give me instructions. I see people even before I meet them. And whatever, even my nieces, little nieces of 6, 7, 9, 10, they're all seen doing the same thing. It scares me. No one to talk to. Nobody trained us on anything like that. We never killed any animal for sacrifice or anything like that.
Yeah.
How does one go about with this kind of situation? Because the things we see about people, even the most hidden things, scares us. How do we go about this? No guidance for us.
All right, no problem. Again, it's natural. It's if you're not familiar with it, this is why we're here and Wu-Sabat is here. What you're talking about is astral projection. We're supposed to know how to leave our body at will and come back, but we've been dumbed down and taught to be afraid of these things. And as I explained before, there are different realms and you travel to these different realms. Most people do it in what they call sleep, or they think they're dreaming and they go to different realms and come back. But there are different types of dreams. So not every situation is going to be, every incident has to be isolated and taken on its own merit. But this is why you need to be taught and to learn how to control your abilities, because you do have higher powers, higher senses, telepathy, clairvoyance, intuition, psychometry. These are things that you need to be taught on how to use them properly. And your spiritual practices come with you being taught about your spiritual counterparts. So this is something that we are here to do. In the Pentecostal church and those types of churches, they do get into this situation where disembodied, what we call roaming spirits, can try to take over your body and fuse with you, because you have the living and you have the dead. The dead are trying to utilize the living, and it's very important to know how to protect yourself. This is why we say, come into Wu-Sabat, study the book, study about these things so you will know what to do and how to control it. Because some people are waking up, many spiritual people are waking up now. They're doing these things, but it's random and they don't know how to control it. They're scared. And this is why the master teacher, Pana Babyanun, is here. And yeah, start by doing the basics, contacting us, linking with us, because we speak to people from all over the world that are going through these things, and we're helping people on a one-to-one basis as well as, you know, through the, you know, the classes, and we're saying to people, come in so you can be helped. All right. I'm gonna have to say, everyone online, it's his fault. Yeah, I'm not getting to the questions because he keeps giving me. No, it's all love. It's all love. We will address as many as we can. Right, who's on the line and where you calling from, and what is your question, please?
Oh, okay, I'm Edward. I'm calling from Ghana.
Rahubat
Yeah,
Edward.
and yeah, did you get that?
Yes, I did. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, and my question is, I don't know if you saw Elon Musk's recent interview with Tucker Carlson, right?
Yeah.
So in that interview, Elon Musk was asked in space, right? Like, are there aliens and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And Elon Musk's answer was that no, right? So my question is it that he knows there are really aliens out there or extraterrestrials out there, but he can't say something like that on the platform, like worldwide stage like that? Or as a matter of fact, they don't really exist? So yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, again, this is technology, because you have to break down what does the word alien mean. And yes, there are aliens. You're an alien. God is an alien. This is what I mean by how they're able to trick people. And if you just do the research on what does the word alien mean, you will find out that you're talking about these extraterrestrials. And so, I mean, you have to be able to, like, when your third eye is open, you can see things clearly. This is called clear vision, clairvoyance. And of course, the mainstream are not going to give you information because they've hidden it for many, many years. But it's getting to a point where it's becoming so popular. People are talking about these things. They've even done a disclosure. But however, he's busy building rockets and spacecrafts to try and get out of here. To go where and to do what? He's building robots. He's building a lot of things. And the master taught us about this many years ago in a lesson that he referred to as alternatives 1, 2, and 3. Meaning that some of them are already left there. They've assembled something called the brain team. And if you look at, you know, the administration, a lot of them are old now. Most of the presidents now are very old. And back, you know, after the 1940s, after the wars, etc., you know, people basically were leaving here, trying to get off the planet. Alternative 1 was to basically kill the population, as many as they can, through many diseases, all the stuff that's going on the planet. And that didn't really work. Alternative 2 was to go into the caverns, to go into the underground or the inner caverns of cities. They encountered many beings and extraterrestrials there, and they couldn't stay there. They drove them away. Now, alternative 3 is to get off the planet. This is why he's very, I mean, yesterday they were talking about his rocket that he's able to reuse over and over again, because he wants to obviously get off the planet. So I'm not going to go too much on him. You have to do more research and you will find out for yourself. Yeah, I just see another person donate, showing love. D Ward, we appreciate, or I appreciate, love you. Yeah, the donations do help us to continue the work, so every little helps. Yeah, what do you think about, okay, Ife or the religion? This is, I touched on it briefly. That's dealing with Yoruba spirituality, and we are the original Yoruba. You know, that's animism. That's, in its original form, it aligns with our ancestors. But like I mentioned before, it even aligns with ancient Egyptian, you know, the beings and the dynasties and things like that, which, as you know, the ancient Egyptians are our ancestors that tie back to those Neolithic Pataites who came here from the skies or from the stars, from Orion and from Sirius. But like I said before, with our practices, a lot of it gets diluted, infiltrated, as I mentioned, with other people bringing in like the practices with the blood sacrifices and other things. So yes, the original if a religion is Yoruba, it's animism, and that's who we are. We are animists. All right. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. What's your name? Where you calling from?
All right. Good evening. Look, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for the show. I mean, you really you give us a lot of enlightenment here. My question is, can you tell us a little bit about the Bermuda Triangle? What are your
Okay.
thoughts about it? You know.
Sure. Again, every single question we get, as we keep saying, the master teacher has written a whole book on it and has given us this information many, many years ago. There are many vortexes, right, that open up at different parts of the planet, different points. There are ley lines that are on the planet that deal with energy centers, and the Bermuda Triangle is one of those places where there's a vortex. And what it does, it sucks things in. If you know what a vortex is, it's like kind of like a black hole, you know, like a wormhole, where if you used a simple example, like if you had water in the bath or in the sink and you pulled the plug out, you see that the water will spiral and draw things in. This is what the Bermuda Triangle is. How do you know this? Is the magnetic pull that it has, where if boats that went past it that were made of wood, for example, they didn't get sucked in or they didn't disappear. But metal, it's the ones that had metal. And there's a lot to that, but really it is a vortex. There are many vortexes that open around the world at different times, at different places. It's like a portal, in other words, that takes things in. And even where you've had planes that have been flying and just go missing, that's entering through a vortex, and it takes you to a different dimension or to a different realm. And so people are like, how did the plane just disappear from radar and nobody knows where it is or where all the passengers are gone? So that's what it is. There's a book called Atlantis that the master teacher has put out. There are many scrolls that talk about this, The Man from Planet Risk. So many books that we have that will give you more information, but you can do more research on the Bermuda Triangle, and we can. There's definitely Shambhala Agata. Yeah, there are many books. So we keep saying to people, plug in with us, stay in tune, attend the classes weekly, buy the books and read them, study, ask us questions, do research. But if we just have a one-off conversation in 2 minutes, we're just giving you snippets, and you know these subjects are things that you need to go into detail. All right, I hope that's answered the question, but let me just pause on the calls and go through some questions online, see where we are. But I want to thank everyone so far. Without you, we won't have this. You know, without your questions. Okay, how do you make, this is from Sayin, how do you make money? I've never been good at it. How you make money, so people say this, they chase money. You shouldn't chase money, because if you chase money, it keeps eluding you. What you got to do is attract it, and you attract it by knowing how to vibrate on the right frequency, because it's all about the mind, meaning that knowledge is power, as people say. The knowledge feeds your mind to even give you the ideas or open you up to receive information from other realms. You have ancestors on the other realms that can help you and guide you and help you make decisions by the way they influence you. So this is why people say knowledge is power, because the more knowledge you have, you can utilize that knowledge to know how to make money. And if you don't know, you learn from other people who do. And so what I'm basically saying is money is a currency. Currencies flow like rivers, like water. And so you have to learn how to utilize your mind to attract what you need on a frequency level, and then it will come to you. So we can, you know, this is why we put out the information. And the reason we're not good at it, because you don't get financial literacy. You don't know the many tricks and things you can do in terms of investments and how, you know, you can make money work for you. People have money and they just think it's just to sit in your bank account. when your money is put into a bank account, the bank utilizes it to make money because they have mandates. They can borrow a certain amount of money on every pound. We're in the UK, so I'm using pounds. Say you put a pound in, they may be able to borrow 10 from the central banks. But the thing is that the fiat system is on its way out. And so you have to know that there are different currencies now, cryptocurrencies. There are different things that you can utilize because fiat and the monetary system that we have at the moment is really based on the debt system. But we teach all of these things in our communities in terms of the financial literacy, investments, and we're not giving any investment advice here. We're not. This is purely educational purposes. We're just teaching you, and we can give you information that you can utilize to make your own decisions. But work from the inside out, not from the outside in, all right? So yes, we can help you with that. Let me keep going. Flowers to York, he got me out the trenches. Absolutely. Oh, flowers to York, okay, thank you. True, other races talk of themselves. Why wouldn't Al-Kibulans do the same? Yeah, go back and I like that, Al-Kibula. That goes back to Gary Bird and We Wear the Crown, because we do. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a song by Gary Bird back in the days called We Wear the Crown because of our 9 ether here. How does Wu-Sabat deal with trauma, especially if this trauma will not go away? Again, each situation is different, and traumas, they get registered and logged in your cells. So we use alchemy, right? Which is how you transform and eradicate and, you know, travel. We have practitioners, we have healers, we have many people in our society, in our culture that can help you with this, you know. But trauma is definitely something that we deal with as a race, and Wu-Sabat is really the answer to that. Start reading the scrolls and you will find the answers. Malachi Ziyuk is not a god, he's a what? NTR. Whatever, you have to decide. And again, you're going by hearsay, you don't have any facts. If you want to address the case, deal with it properly, ask questions, don't run off of emotions. And it doesn't matter what you think, truth is truth. And in time, you will see that for yourself. Is Dr. Yorkton going against him? Going against who? I don't know who that is. Keep moving on.
It's 9 o'clock now.
Okay.
You can carry on if you want.
Yeah, I'm just going to scan through now and see, because some people may have been really... Okay, we've got, do you know Professor Dave? What's your opinion on his views? Dave is a very popular name. No, I don't. Which races are 7 ether and which are 8 ether? Dravidians are, or what we call the Asian race, are 7 and 8 ether. We, Nagarus or the Negroids are 9 ether. Caucasians or the European are 6 ether. Adamites. But it depends on what you're calling ether, because there's different types of ethers, dealing with hair, dealing with mentality. The Grandmaster Teacher Nana is free. Cool. Flowers. Black Wall Street. Yeah, there you go. Black Wall Street. We've done it before. Thank you for reminding me of my stolen greatness. Absolutely, Aaron. Oh, Simba Musa, thank you so much for your contributions and the donation. Much love. Not more taking nature and destroying earth. Yes. Harmony business, all donations welcome. Thank you. York is the example. Exactly. When is the time of the enemy destruction? Again, it's happening right now in front of our eyes. And it depends who you're referring as the enemy and, you know, what you're calling destruction. It's happening before our eyes and you will live to see it. 2013, mark my words. There you go. Before that, it's happening right now, and it's the build-up. So can you please elaborate on Yakub, big-headed scientist, dead now, left 9 ether beings? That's a big story. That's in a book called Shambhala and Agatha. But really, a quick summary is you had the Teros and the Deros. These are different species of extraterrestrial beings. The Teros are the cone head-shaped beings. And the Donakil, not the Deros, the Teros and the Donakil, right? the Danakil actually, you know, you got people in Africa, in Sudan, that were known as, what they call again, they are related to the Danakil, but those two mixed to produce who we're calling Yakub, the big-headed scientist, because he suffered from having two brains, and because he was teased by both sides of the family, he vowed that he was going to destroy them and he was going to create a weak and wicked being, and he went about doing this, and he's who created who people are calling the Flugorods, the first what people will call the beings that were in the Caucasus Mountains, the Flugorods, before what we call the Canaanites. But like I said, it's a big story. It's not really one to just give you in 2 minutes, but that's who the Nation of Islam also spoke about when they were talking about Yaqub. But it comes from this story. You can find that in the scroll Shambhala and Agatha by the master teacher, Pana Babylon, Dr. Malachi Z. York. Okay, let me keep going. Simba Musa, thanks again for your donation. I understand Michael being Marduk, that's correct. I sent a message on Telegram. Okay, we're gonna have to look at that. Close this live chat. Okay, keep going quickly. Beautiful, and that's how you deal with negative energy people. Yeah, we just gotta stay. This is it. If you're on the same resonance, you're gonna be like that. You're gonna vibrate on the same thing. And negative people. Let me explain something quickly based on what you said, Solomon. That's actually really good. Not everybody is ready at the same time. You have different cycles, and some people are mature and ready and they've elevated in this cycle, in this 24,000 years that we're going into, the renewal of our history, of everything. And not everybody is ready to make that dimensional shift. So as much as you love people and you want to bring them up with you and you try and teach them and give them all the information, if they're not ready, they're not ready. If it doesn't resonate with them, you just have to know that maybe they will be ready in the next cycle and it's not their time. You just give them love, you show them by way of your example, and you do you. And you help those who are ready, that want to know, and you teach those. It's not a thing about putting people down, it's just all fruits don't ripe at the same time, and all flowers don't blossom at the same time. So you just have to show love. Okay, let's keep going. I like animism and nature stuff. I love voodoo. Feel free. Voodoo is our stuff. It's just like when people say black magic. Like there's white magic, black magic, red magic, and it's the magic that works for you, for us. And it's alchemy. It's not, like I said, killing and murdering and sacrificing and doing all that kind of stuff. God equals 8 resembles reincarnation. So we are all God's big up. Yes, exactly. The 8 is actually infinity, as they call infinity, because it's a cycle. Turn it out, it's a circle or cycle. You just go, you just keep rotating, keep coming back until you learn to transcend and go to the next realm. If we're going to be wrong, calendars, can we go by the numerology concept? Again, when we say numerology, we're dealing with numbers. We predate numbers, we predate the moon, the stars. We are who we are, but yes, we do know that 9 ether is our number. But yes, you have to be careful because astrology, numerology, solar biology are all different things. Lunar, some people use the lunar calendar. We're about using the sun because we're sun people. We recognize the sun as being 9 ether. Let me keep going. All the nations welcome. I think we're doing very well. Is it true that we black people came from the sky? That's why we have melanin, because of electrical magnetic tissues from sun. We came from the sun. There are many suns. So yes, it's true. We're melaninated beings because we're energy. Just slow down. Like if you look at when the sun explodes, if it throws out fragments, and we are those fragments, or original, we came by way of the sun. So yeah, we're sun people. Yeah, Abantu, Zulus, meaning people from the sky. We are, because we're from different constellations, as I've mentioned. Sirius, Orion, to be very specific. Animal will be signing up. Animal will be signing up. Yeah, animals are, you know, they're not really here for you to eat them. Wade in Haiti as well, we need to connect. Cool, cool, cool. This insight of knowledge from this guy is great, and I truly appreciate this purpose is being displayed. Thanks again, my brother, keep up. We all have to learn so we can all teach and spread it, like, so we can reach more people. So yeah, don't just spectate. You can also become a teacher. You just have to study. We're all students and we're all teachers at the same time. It's just that we sit in the seat of a student when we have a master amongst us that is teaching us, and we listen. You have 2 ears, yeah, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. So you should listen twice and pay attention twice as much as you talk. All right.
Do you have Cash App?
Yes.
Yes, okay. What's your Cash App?
Oh gosh. I think it's in the it's in the chat. It's in the chat. What a shame. The more is on one of the best of us brown people, and this plenty before them in the dark ages. Africans were on top. We sent them soft like, yeah. It's I don't know. The more is spelled in different ways. M-O-O-R or M-U-U-R. Research the two. I used to be darker as a child. I don't know what the heck. I don't know what happened to the rest of that. Yeah, we need to be in the sun to rejuvenate, but you will never lose your melanin. You just need to get more sun. Go back to the sun as regularly as you can. Casablanca, a White House. Why does it matter of how we was created or have a need to believe in the creator, and why it matters to know life after death and just live? Because what you're calling life is dying. From the minute you're born, you're dying because you're aging and you're getting to a point where you're gonna go back. So it's good to know where you're going back to. And you're not only physical, you're spiritual, and you have other components that exist on other realms. So yes. Okay. Ajay. How do you know if your ancestors at higher levels or your higher self is trying to communicate with you or not? Yeah, excellent question. So you have ancestors that are on different levels and different vibrations and different realms. Some are agreeable and some are disagreeable, meaning we always say good and bad, but it's not really good and bad because it's about perspective. But some of the disagreeable ones are trying to utilize you to live out their desires that they didn't fulfill in the physical. And the positive ones are trying to navigate you and help you avoid being trapped in the spell. And you yourself, as you say, you have your other doubles or your etheric being that resides on the etheric realm. You're connected to all of them. So you're like fractals, yeah? Meaning that even though you're here physically, you have counterparts. You have your spiritual being, you have your mental being, you have your etheric being that you're connected to. And the purpose of you being here is to master the physical. So when you get rid of the physical, you merge back with the other being on the next realm, being the spiritual, for example. And then you master that realm and you merge up to the mental, and you can become a pure mental being. Eventually you will merge back to what we call the all expanding, which is all. But we use the English word all because there's no other word that can actually try to describe it for you in English. All, because not all what, because the minute you say that, you detract. So all, we say pa'ut or pa-pa'ut in our language. You have to learn the language because English is limiting. The tones and the vibrations are limiting. So yes, you have to master different levels. It's growing. It's like you were once a baby. You can't remain a baby forever. So you grow and you learn to use your legs and you stand up. You learn to talk. You learn to walk. It's all experiences, and then you learn things on this realm and then you move on to the next level. So you can't be stuck. Change is constant and change is natural, but you get tricked into wasting your time and your energy. So yeah. Why does it, okay, that's that one. I really appreciate how we say schools. Yeah, everything is a learning process. you're mastering yourself and mastering your environment and mastering how to manipulate, to enhance, manipulate, channel energy.
I would say 20 minutes remaining.
Okay, yeah, 20 minutes, so we round off at 9:30. Yeah. All right, cool. Morocco, one of the first to support us independence. I don't think it's our responsibility. I don't. People just be saying stuff. Sometimes they're not finishing it off. It doesn't come up. It's not making sense. It's all about the journey, not the destination. Absolutely. You have to also, it is about the destination, but it's also about enjoying and learning and I appreciate love the journey. Who created hell, or what is the concept of hell? Hell can be a state and it can be a place, right? And you're saying who created it? Well, where did you first come across this word, hell? This is religious dogma, but at the same time, it's a place as well, because the ancient ones that didn't understand about the inner world, the caverns where these beings I've spoken about, some of them are not agreeable, they refer to that as Hades, or where you get the word hell from. But hell is also a state of mind. You give yourself hell by how you think, because you create the environment you're in by your thoughts, and what you think is what you manifest. So you can create hell for yourself by just the way you think. This is why all you have to do is change your attitude, change the way you think, and change your environment, and change the things that surround you, change the people you're around, change the things that are giving you hell, and you will be in bliss or in heaven or out of hell. So hell is the word, oh hell, when you add an O to the beginning of it, that's the place where I'm saying they talk about this in the Anunnaki stories when they say the underworld, oh hell, this is where the word hell comes from. Then we say hell, we put the O on the other side and we said hello when we greet people. And that's a vibration, that's a frequency where you're saying that hell is low, right? Low as in a place in the center of the earth, in these caverns, or low as in vibration. Because low vibration, low energy, low thoughts manifest hell. Okay, let's keep going. Real morals have morality. That's what allows you to become immortal. Okay, cool. What's this? If you don't agree, stop policing this site because I need the overstanding. Okay, cool. Yeah, we all have to work together. If you see trolls or people that are just coming with the negative energy, just, deal with them. The helping hand you're looking for is at the end of your own harm. Exactly. That's what makes you God, because you have to take responsibility. We've said many times, all the religious people that want to give their divinity to someone else or something else, when you're hungry and you want to eat and you need food, you can put a plate down and pray all day long for food to manifest. It's not going to happen. You have to use your arms, your hands to go and your mind to find this food and to, I've just clicked. I clicked something and it's gone. Can I go back?
Someone has asked as well about the flat earth and the firmament.
Oh, goodness. I've lost where I was, so don't know. Where is the flat earth? And
That should be one of the latest.
okay, sorry about that. I clicked by accident and...
I can read it to you if you want.
yeah, but go on and read it to me.
Is the firmament and the flat earth theory a myth or not?
It's not a myth. It's been misinterpreted. And again, we've kind of addressed this many times. Our position, until we're taught different, because remember, if you've never been somewhere or don't know something, it's kind of hard for you to speak on it. It's really hearsay. But we have been taught, I've never been taught by any of the ancient ancestors, Dr. York, about, the flat earth theory. And all the ancient ones talk about, even if you go to the Dogons, you go to the Zoroastrians, the Mayans, you go to, you know, the Egyptians, they all talk about beings coming from somewhere else and coming here. And there's a lot of documentation and evidence for that. You've got many satellites up there that, you know, send information and deal with. I know the people that subscribe to that are going to have a response for it, but, you know, we don't teach that. We don't teach that the earth is flat. And it is in a certain way that you look at things, but, you know, we've always seen the orb, and even the ancient tablets, you know, they don't talk about the earth being flat. The firmament, yes, you can talk about the different spheres, because, you know, in order to break out of the atmosphere, you have the different spheres that surround the globe, you know, the ionosphere, etc., etc. So, yeah, I don't, if you're asking my opinion on the flat earth theory, I don't really have, or don't want to give an opinion. I don't have any facts to say it is. Someone says, step one, we have to address this. This is the low vibration. You lot, stop this nonsense and come to Jesus. Where is Jesus? You're saying come to Jesus. Where is he? Is he a he? Is he a ghost? Is he physical? Is he in heaven? Is he on earth? You know, who are you talking about? You know, Wu-Sabat will take it apart and will address who are you talking about? Jesus from Yah and Zeus, which is dealing with a Greek god. You know, you need to get out of the spell of Jesus, because it didn't exist in the way you've been taught. And let's move on. We are protected in contracts from them. Yeah, he's reading the chat as well. Okay, cool. The actual nonsense is Jesus. Exactly. Thank you. All right, we're going to bring it to an end and wrap it up. Are we superior? Like, can you elaborate on the different ethers? By natural nature, things evolve, and those things that were here first birth other things. So yes, 9 ether is the most potent. And it's not even me saying it, it's not a racism thing, it's something that natural nature has done. And, you know, the scientific world, the geologists, anthropologists, they tell you about studying heritage and studying findings and studying who was here first, and looking at the potency in proteins, in like melanin, and you know what it does. And there's so much information that shows that the Africans were here first, and then you have the Dravidians, and then you have what we call the Caucasians. But every root race has mixed and have produced sub-races, and there's so much mixture on the earth now that it's not even about just how you look and the color of your skin. It's about the contents of the character. But yeah, so the ego will make us say we're superior, we're first, we're, you know, when we say that as black people, then when people say, well, where did the devil come from then? You see, we have to recognize there's disagreeable in every race. There's agreeable in every race. But when we're talking about the Adamites, a specific hybrid that was grafted, that is unnatural, that causes most of the chaos and the wars and the fighting and the problems on the planet, they are the ones that have got to go, and their time has expired and they're being removed off the earth. It's not as simple as looking at somebody's hair texture or their color and saying they're superior now, because it's about your development as a being, you know. So let's not let our egos run away with us. We are great people, no doubt. We're gods and we've done great things, but we also have fallen by imitating and following others, you know, to the point where we've regressed. A lot of people, a lot of us have regressed to being beasts and demons and killing each other for real trivial things. And now you've got to get back your 9 mind to operate as the divine being that you're supposed to be. Is it true that we black people were giants? There were giants in all races. And when people talk about giants, right, you're really talking about people that are like 6 foot, 7 foot, 8, maybe even 9. and these people still exist. They're called basketball players. These are descendants of those genetics and those genes. You have to realize the giants that are spoken about in the Bible, they came here and they mixed in and produced offspring. Every type of extraterrestrial has produced offspring. Some of them are hideous because the mixture of things produce hybrids. Like, for example, I'll give you a quick example. Bats, right, are a mixture of rats and birds. And you can look at the jackal, look at the wolf, and then it becomes a dog. And people take lions and tigers and mix them and produce all types of. So there were many experiments that were done by these extraterrestrials that produced beings that were deformed. Like I said, you got different extraterrestrials in the caverns, like the Duanis, who produce hirsutism, which is when you see people that are covered with hair all over their bodies. The Teros and the Danakil produce the big head scientists. Depending on which extraterrestrial, which mixture you're talking about, there are many people on the planet that are the descendant of those beings, all right? Wu-Sabat can't come close to the gospel. The ghost spell, you mean? The ghost, the spell of the ghost. A walking ghost that people say is he was killed, and, you know, this is so, the gospel, yeah, people are dealing with it anyway. Yeah, that belief stuff, you can keep believing if you want, but we are the knowers, not the believers. No, you can be a demon even if you have curly hair. It has to be your whole being. Exactly. It's about the actions. All praise is due to Anu, the Most High, the highest. The highest of what? This is like Wu-Sabat teaches you. Anu is the highest in the Sumerian doctrine. It's just a seat, like prime minister, president, that was held because Alalu was fighting Anu to take the throne. If you don't know who Alalu is, that's his brother. And, you know, there are many people that were trying to take that seat of being the highest, or Anu. Yep. Okay, I'm coming to the last 8 minutes. Like kiss and anyone can be and attain if they do the correct. Yes, that's right. You can attain and, you know, raise your consciousness. People just make statements. The apostles went around the world, and this is well documented. Documented by who? Where is the documentation? Just because it's documented doesn't make it authentic. Anybody can document something, and what did they go around the world to do? What did they teach? And if you look at the accounts, they contradict each other. What do you think about people? Just lost it. It just skipped. Sorry, I was trying to read that. It got. Okay, covered that. All right, I'm going to do the last 3, and that should bring us to, yeah. So, is that how Ptah really looks like? It just skipped again. Oh, there you go. Is that how Ptah really looks like in physical form, like how they show? Ptah, or the Ptah was a person, but there were the Ptahites. Many people refer to as that. And yes, because in ancient Egypt, we actually wrote and drew on the wall, drew pictures and carvings that are still standing till this day. Uplift all intentions are key. Yeah. What is the difference between a physical body and a spiritual body, and what do vibration have to with it? Okay, so everything vibrates because you're talking about oscillation, movement, and that's dealing with the different moods. So, as I explained before, everything vibrates and has a particular frequency that it's vibrating on. So, when you say the physical body, that's vibrating on a particular frequency. It's just like, I use a simple example, it's like solid in terms of ice, it's at a particular vibration. You melt the ice, it becomes liquid, which is another density. You heat that water or liquid, it makes the molecule to vibrate and it gives off vapor or steam. So it's transforming from one state to the next. It's the same with us. We have a physical body, because how do you know you have other counterparts? Because something is keeping you alive and animated right now. And at some point, your physical body lays there and it's not moving. And something that was keeping it alive has left it. And rigor mortis sets in, because there's a process called a burning, where you're taking in oxygen, right, when you breathe in, and you breathe back out carbon dioxide, which is a residue of burning, because you have a real life sun within your body that keeps you alive. This is where the concept of your body is a temple, and in your temple you have an altar, and you burn things in that altar to give you the energy. And this is why when you eat food, the food breaks down and then it's burnt by the acid in your system, and then it gives off, you know, the heat that comes out. And when you breathe, you feel the heat on your, you know, you go, you can feel the heat. That's the burning process. That's called life. And the minute that light goes out, known as your solar plexus, your body gets cold because that heat is no longer there. And this is where rigor mortis sets in, and your essence has left, your spirit and your soul. All right. Last question. Okay. Yeah.
How do you connect black magic with your ancestors? Can you explain the two correlations?
How do you connect black magic with your ancestors? Right. This is what I'm saying. When people hear the word black, it has been given negative connotation, because most people turn up to go to a funeral because they worship the dead, and most people wear black to a funeral. And when someone is coming into the world and being born in a hospital, there's few people there. They give you all this blackboard, black mail, everything black. The witches wear black, and it's because they're trying to make you, as a black person, hate yourself. So when we say black magic, we're just talking about our science of how we are able to do what we do and manifest and continue to live and exist, to the point where our ancestors are living. Nobody dies because of the fact that energy doesn't get destroyed. So all you're doing is connecting with them, knowing how to communicate with them so they can help you navigate your physical world. So there are certain incantations and certain rituals and certain tones that you call on, and certain things you do to be able to connect with them. Because what it is that it's like having a telephone number to someone you know who can do something that you need to do and you don't have the information. If you dial the wrong number, you won't get through. If you dial the right number, that person answers the phone and you have a communication, they give you information that helps you to overcome whatever difficulty or problem you're going through. So black magic is really alchemy, and the way we're able to transform energy from one state to the other to do what we need to do. But you need to know the codes or the telephone number, for lack of a better word, for that example. All right, last one. Is it true that the first pyramids are in South Africa? There are pyramids all over. There are more pyramids in Sudan. There are pyramids in South America. Yeah, so I don't know about the first ones being in South Africa, but it actually makes sense, because when you're talking about South Africa, that's where, when these extraterrestrials originally came here, when the planet was one, or the landmass was together, they landed in what's called South Africa, or what they call Monodapa in South Africa. That's where they originally landed. And you had, actually that's a good question, because you had the two sons, which becomes Enki and Enlil, or Numnumnir and Numnumnar. They were basically given different provinces, and they were building and doing things in their different parts. So yeah, that's possible, but I'll have to research that and come back to you on another video if they were in South Africa. Like to say thank you to every single one who tuned in, all the people that donated. Remember, don't leave it here. We can continue the conversation because you can subscribe to the course, subscribe to the channel, tune in to our videos, and subscribe, like, share, hit the notification button, and join our Saturday classes online via YouTube, via WhatsApp, via Clubhouse, and on Zoom. So don't just leave it today for these few hours, because you know we have a lot of information and it can't all be conveyed in one sitting. So yes, until the next live. This worked out really well. This is the first time we've done a live taking calls. Yeah, thank you all for your questions. Stay in bliss. Study, study, study. Read. Ask people the awkward and the hard questions so that you can get it clear. Until the next one, peace and wadu, as we say. Hatap, wu-wadu, and we say nafir masut. That means good evening in our language. Wadu.